Nothing announced, nothing finish. It just continue.
Nothing announces, nothing finished. It just continue. Nothing announces.
Nothing announce it.
Nothing finished.
Nothing announce it. Nothing announce it. Nothing announce it. Nothing announce it.
It's your wife and your 3 children. And slave captures have come in, and they've decided that your 3 children and your wife belong to someone somewhere else that you've never heard of. And off they go. And you never see them again. This was perfectly legal. This was perfectly constitutional. This is what the Constitution permitted.
I have been told
Why?
that the chief executives
Because the
of
Supreme Court
most of the Wall
says
Street firms were
we
there
have
as well, but
to
apparently there was
allow
another
slave
floor and
catchers
other conference
to
rooms.
have every
We trying
tool at
to
their
do
disposal
our
because
part
there's
to
a
do what was
constitutional
being asked
right
of us, and
in the
with a sense of the
Constitution
clock
to
ticking.
recover those
I'll probably
who
never have a
are
weekend quite
property
like
of
it.
other people. So let's just keep that in the back of our
Lehman
mind.
may post another
Was the Supreme Court
$2.5
willing
billion
to do the same
write-down
thing
on
for
home loans
Liberty?
in the third
Was it
quarter.
willing to do the same
For months,
thing
Wall
for
Street had
free
been worried
trade?
about Lehman
Well, the civil
because of
rights
the bank's
cases
massive
answered
property
that.
investments.
Civil rights
With the
cases
crash
were
in the
literally
market,
cases
it was
that
now
came
dangerously
up
exposed.
in, states
Shareholders were
across the
dumping
country
stock,
after,
and other banks
the
were
Civil War
withholding
was
credit.
over.
Lehman has
Congress
lost
passed a law
$6.5 billion
that
so far this year.
anti-discrimination
The bank's
now
share
is the
price
rule
had
of
been
the
dropping
land.
since
That
May.
black people
Lehman
should
shares
have
have been
equal
down
access
sharply.
to,
But in the last 10
public
days, it had been in
accommodations.
free
That
fall.
includes inns,
By that Friday
trains,
afternoon, it was losing
theaters.
more than $8 million a minute.
reality was,
Confidence in the
though,
bank
that
was
black people
evaporating
didn't
under
have
the glare
access.
of the media
Discrimination and
spotlight.
segregation was
Has the
growing
market given
everywhere.
up on Lehman?
We knew Lehman's was in trouble. Remember that there's
So,
a
the civil
constant
rights
traffic
cases
between
came from a
our Treasury and the
family,
US
a black
Treasury,
couple
between the regulators.
wanted to
And
go
during
to
that
the
time, I
opera,
spoke to
the
Hank Paulson
theater,
pretty
as we like to
regularly.
call it.
And on the
This
Friday
wasn't
evening,
like
we
motion
knew
picture
that
theater.
they would have to do something
was,
about Lehman's.
an opera. They wanted to give them a dress. They were wealthy enough
In the
to
last few
afford
months,
tickets
the
to
fallout from the
dress circle.
subprime mortgage crisis
because they were
and the
black, they
collapse
were
in
not
house
allowed to
prices
be seated
had forced the
there.
US Treasury to
case,
bail out
Mrs.
one bank
Robinson
and America's 2
bought a
biggest
ticket
mortgage
to
companies.
the ladies' car.
Many
It was
assume the
equivalent
authorities
of
would
a
do the same
first-class
again.
car in a train.
But the presidential election was weeks
Because
away.
she was dark
On the
skinned
campaign trail,
and
the cry
person
went
she was
out,
traveling
it's
with
Main
was,
Street, not Wall
white
Street, that
appearance.
matters.
The conductor decided that she
So when
was
the
a
bank
lady
chiefs
of ill
assembled that
repute
Friday
and threw
evening,
her off the
it was
train.
clear from the start there'd be little sympathy from the government.
It was really Hank Paulson, the
So there
Treasury
were many
Secretary,
cases
and
like
Tim
this
Geithner, the head of the New York
that
Fed,
the
who
courts had
really
initially
were
said
running the
civil
meeting.
rights laws
And
prohibited
they
treatment against
said
black
to us,
people.
this is the
When it
problem.
got to the Supreme
Lehman
Court,
needs to be
Supreme Court
rescued.
said, not so much.
You have to come up with
The
a solution.
Congress
And
authority
we, the
that
government,
they've
are
been
not
given
going to
under
help.
the 14th Amendment does not
As
give
the
them
leaders of Wall
authority
Street
to
wrestled
create
with what to
civil
do
rights
about
laws.
Lehman Brothers,
To
across
add
town at Shea
salt to the
Stadium,
wounds,
the home
Supreme
team,
Court said,
the Mets,
"These
were
laws are
trailing to the
basically
Atlanta
preferential
Braves.
treatment. It's
It was not
time
a
for
good
you
omen.
black people to stop thinking of yourselves
With
as
no
the
government
special
bailout,
favorites
2 of
the
Lehman's
law,
rivals were
and
eager
go back
to
to
swoop.
being ordinary citizens
The
just like
first was
everybody
Bank of
else. Now,
America,
think about
one of the
this.
largest banks in
This
the
is
United States.
About 2 decades after the
And the
end of
other was a
slavery,
British outsider,
black people are still
Barclays,
discriminated against
keen to expand
everywhere.
across the
They
Atlantic.
simply ask
We had our eyes
for
open. We had a good
protection
opportunity of taking a
against
very
this
careful look at the books.
discrimination. And our
how we
Supreme Court
deployed a
says
big
you're
team
asking for too
in New
much.
York under Bob Diamond.
That
We
is
certainly
the civil
didn't know
rights
what we were going to
case's
find
answer
completely in due
to
diligence,
whether
but I can
we
tell you
will
for sure we
eliminate
wouldn't have boarded
the
the plane
discrimination root and branch.
in a
And just to
situation as
close the
serious
circle,
as
remember,
the markets were in
this
if
is
we
the same
weren't
Supreme
very
Court
serious.
that
To be
allowed
very clear that this was
slave
going to be a
catchers
seminal event in the
indiscriminate
history of the
power
credit crunch.
to recapture black people, claiming
Few ever
that they're
imagined
slaves.
that America's
Now,
fourth
we're
largest
simply
investment bank
expecting
would fall
the
so
Supreme
far
Court to affirm
and so
that
fast.
same authority
Its
to
earlier
affirm the
success
basic human
was
rights
largely
of
down to
African
one man,
Americans.
a
And
larger-than-life
here the Supreme
figure
Court says
who was proud to
that's
call
too
himself
much.
a
That
Lehman lifer.
asymmetry between what
In
the law does
1966,
to reinforce white
20-year-old
supremacy
Richard Severin
and what it does to
Folds
dismantle
Jr.
white supremacy
arrived in New York to
is
work as an intern
imbalance
at Lehman
that
Brothers.
still characterizes our
When he
law to
finished
this day.
university, the bank
That's
snapped him
what
up.
a critical
Dick Fuld
perspective
was driven
on law
and good at
teaches
what
us.
he did.
That's
Very
what
good.
equality requires
Steadily
us
and
to
determinist
address and
evolved and
dismantle.
grew from a traditional investment bank, raising money and managing mergers and acquisitions for clients, to using borrowed money to play the markets itself.
I must tell you, having been with Lehman Brothers for 24 years, this is my only job. When I started off, I was lower than low, and thinking that I would stand here today and to give this address to my people, I am thrilled.
The new boss had one simple ambition: to overtake his rivals, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs.
Lehman Brothers will eventually inherit the heritage and the tradition that will let us stand alone
In a
and
series
conquer
of
all the people that
cases,
stand in front of us.
destroyed the
That's what I want Lehman Brothers to be.
possibilities that
Basically,
the
to crush our enemies.
Reconstruction framers
Within the
were
firm,
hoping
you
to
had complex
advance
stages.
through the
This was a
14th
man who was
Amendment.
clearly in
I
charge.
call the Supreme Court's
Clearly
efforts
had a vision for
to
business.
dismantle Reconstruction
Would you
an
want to get
effort
into an
to
argument
create
with
a
Dick?
new
Absolutely
constitution. I
not,
call it
unless
a Redeemer Constitution.
totally
By Redeemer
solid
Constitution,
on
what
the
I
grounds
mean
you
to
are
do is to
Nothing
say
else.
that
You wouldn't even acknowledge
the
anybody.
destruction of
Most of the time,
Reconstruction
I would say, "Good morning,"
was
or "Hello" to
framed
him.
as
He had a response
redemption.
back, but he's
It was
very almost
framed
like
as the white South basically riding again, coming
employees
back
felt the same way. They
to
wouldn't even
where
speak
it
to us.
had
It's
been
almost like riding an
unfairly
elevator in total silence.
deposed. It is the idea that the effort to push black people out of the electoral arena, to put them back under heel, was redemption. So just think about it. Black
When
people
Lehman Brothers
exercising
opened the
rights,
new
black
European
people being
headquarters in
citizens.
Canary Wharf,
From the
the
white
bank
Southern
had truly
point of
arrived.
view,
Nothing
that was a horror. That was horrible. That was intolerable. So redemption was about using any means necessary to put black people back into their place.
Nothing announced
And he proceeded to deliver this fearsome attack on short sellers.
Slaughterhouse
people who
cases.
were
That's
depressingly
one
share
of the
price,
cases
right?
that the Supreme Court used
being short
to
the stock.
basically batter
and
and
he,
bludgeon out of existence.
rather to everyone's surprise and mystification, he said,
We get this right today.
We'll start with
Dick Fuld also had an insatiable appetite for profits, with or without fava beans. And he delivered. In 1994, one share cost $4. As the economy boomed by 2007, that investment was now worth $82, a 20-fold increase. And how had the bank done this? By expanding into lucrative new products as the market became less regulated. Highly complex products, including credit default swaps, a kind of insurance against borrowers defaulting on loans. Risk was the name of the game.
As a trader, you take risk to make profits. The more risk you take, the more money that you're playing with, the more profits you can make. In the case of Lehman Brothers, Dick Fuld essentially said to our head risk taker in commercial mortgage-backed securities, you got to take more risk. Risk, 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 risk. And that risk leads more to the bottom line.
I think Wall Street found, but also a lot of other people believed, that modern finance was a form of alchemy, that it was a way of taking risk and distributing it very widely, so widely that the overall system was de-risked. And this built up a sense of false confidence in the markets.
And for the staff who signed up to Dick Fuld's credo, along with the bottom line came rewards which were life-changing.
in a good year, as I had in 2006, I made more than $30 million. That gave me more than $1 million bonus. And I know traders that made $10 million in a year, in a good year. But those type of traders made north of $100, $150, $200 million for the firm.
In 2004, Lehman's turnover was $11.5 billion. It rewarded its staff over $5 billion in pay and bonuses. By 2007, turnover had almost doubled, with staff collecting more than $9 billion in pay and bonuses. And top of the pile was Dick Fuld. From the year 2000 to 2008, he took home between $310 and $500 million.
Now,
The precise figure
1 or 2%
is
of $1
disputed.
billion is still a lot of money, but if they would not have raised
Now,
as much money when they sold,
at the Fed,
they'd be worth
on that Friday
a whole
night
lot
last
more
September,
money.
the rivals Dick Fuld had boasted of crushing were sitting in judgment
The
over
only
him.
reason you know who I am
He had not been invited to
is
the
because
crisis
I
meeting
have
of chief
billions of
executives.
dollars. And the
Even
only
some on
reason
his
I
own
have
side
billions of
felt his
dollars
combative
is
nature
because
would be
I
an
did
unhelpful
not
distraction.
immediately go out and raise
After the
money.
bank chiefs
I'll
had
give
left
you
the
an
building,
example.
their accountants and lawyers carried on working through the night.
What's the score and you want
The
to hear what's going
smell
on?
of stale
That's not a problem
pizza
anymore. You know, a little
and
PC and
unwashed
the
bodies
connections
is
to the
not
net.
all
I
that
might as well be sitting in
appealing.
Bloomington, Indiana.
But
I
you
was
learn
having
to live
lunch
with
with
it
my
as,
buddy from
as
college,
part
Todd
of the
Wagner,
business.
and
But
we were at a California pizza kitchen in Dallas,
intensity
shooting the shit like we would get
was
together from time to time and
at
do.
a
And
much
it was
higher
end of
pitch
1994,
than is
early
normally the
1995, and it was like, there's this new thing called the internet, and there's got to be a way that we can listen to Indiana University basketball, where we went to school, over the internet.
The ball is just a fleeting moment.
And mind you, at that point in time, for us to listen to an Indiana game, we literally would go to someone's office and they would set up a speakerphone, and somebody in Bloomington, Indiana would have a speakerphone there, and we would have a 6 or 12 pack of beer, and they would put a radio next to their speakerphone, and we would listen on our speakerphone to the game, which was insane now when you think about it, but literally what we did. If it was exciting for me to listen to those games, it was going to be exciting to all Hoosiers fans everywhere, and obviously apply to all sports fans everywhere. We didn't have an office at that point. It was just me working out of the second bedroom of my house and figuring it all out. And I just started reading, learning, trying to, kludge different things together. Back then, it was hard to stream. Now you just stream and nobody thinks twice about it. But back then, you had to have a PC, you had to have at least a 14.4 modem, but preferably 56K modem. Who remembers modems anymore? And then you had to download your ISP software to connect to the internet, your TCP/IP client to make the software work, a streaming client on top of that. All this work to be able to listen to Indiana University basketball. Then we had to convince people to go through this process, and that was the unknown. Would people download all this software, go to this website, and want to listen to all this? And so I went on CompuServe bulletin boards, Prodigy bulletin boards, AOL chat rooms, you name it. I went everywhere saying, hey, if you live outside of Dallas and you're interested in Dallas sports and Dallas news, go to broadcast.com, follow the instructions, yada, yada. 10 people first day, then 100. First month, 1,000, then 10,000. And then it was like, oh my God. And I knew we had something. And when you have a startup that serves a need, in this case, allowing people to get access to content they otherwise couldn't get access to, and they're willing to change their behavior in order to do it, that's when you know you've got something that's clicking. And Todd and I knew, and it was like, okay, we're off to the races. We broadcast football games, we broadcast basketball games. My brother got married, we streamed his wedding on the internet, bowling, everything and anything you can possibly imagine that we legally were allowed to put up, we put up on broadcast.com. Like with broadcast.com, I wasn't the only one who saw the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There were so many competitors popping up left and right. And so one of the things I learned very specifically is you have to learn how to preempt your competition. What are the things that you can do to beat them to the punch? We had to realize that while other companies were raising more money, it wasn't about how much money we could raise, it was about how much sales that we could generate. Sales cures all, but it's profitable sales that matter. And at broadcast.com, even though the entire industry said, doesn't matter how much money you lose, just go public and sell, we were on a path to profitability. And so we were out there, out of 330 employees that we had, 300 of them were in sales and marketing. We knew that without sales, we were just like every other startup that was just out there grinding away. So we really pushed. And our mission wasn't to just grow the top line. Our mission was to be profitable as soon as possible. Business is the most competitive sport. You have to understand your competition. You have to know them as well as they know themselves. I think about my competitors all day, every day. Anytime I see their name mentioned, I'm reading it. If they're a public company, I'm reading the quarterly earnings transcripts, everything. Because the marginal cost